Hey everyone, it's been a while.
We've been deep in the development of Heli.os and a lot has happened, so we thought it was due time for a broader overview. So whether you're just now hearing about us or you've been tagging along since our earliest devlogs, welcome. We are Braincliff, an indie game studio based in Copenhagen, Denmark, and we are building Heli.os, a third-person, knowledge-based action roguelike.
In Heli.os, knowledge is power. Instead of chasing stats or loot, players uncover, document, and experiment with mysterious components to create powerful combat circuits and unravel a world left behind by its own ambition. Inspired by games like Returnal, Tunic, Noita, and the ARG spirit of Daniel Malin's games, Heli.os blend experimentation, replayability, and meaningful discovery.
From Returnal, we borrow the tight third-person combat and the looping roguelike structure, but also its layered storytelling, a fragmented narrative delivered through repeated runs and environmental detail.
And from Tunic, we take the idea that knowledge is power. In Heli.os, players progress not through better equipment or stats, but by understanding the world, testing theories, and documenting discoveries in their journal.
Noita played a huge inspiration for our modular component system, where combining elements leads to emergent behavior. Much like Noita's wand building, fun in Heli.os will come from creative experimentation, figuring out what happens when you connect different pieces in different ways.
And finally, games like Inscription and Animal Well shape our approach to secrets. We love these games to heart. Look, we even got one of our components 3D printed and signed by the developer of Animal Well, Billy Basso, and by his business guy, Dan Edelman. Can you see that? Anyway, we want Heli.os to hide deep puzzles and meta layers for curious players to uncover. Sometimes even outside the game itself. We aim to reward those who look an extra time and think together as a community.
Something we've never had the chance to do before is finally happening. Our team is growing. The two of us has done a pretty good job at tolerating each other so far, but there have been several points where we could use an extra hand or would have to spend a lot of time on learning to become good enough. For example, even though I'm very proud of how my 3D skills improved over just a few days, there's still a bit to go to reach the point where my proficiency matches our vision.
And yeah, as far as I have fun making sounds for the game, and sometimes come up with decently good ones, I'm not even close to the quality of sounds we're aiming for in Heli.os. But by reaching out, we've been able to connect with some incredible talents. 3 students from our university actually applied to intern with us. One of them, Emma, is now officially joining our team part-time in August, and she will help designing and building the world of Heli.os.
We also got a chance to show up at a local digital art school. Their internship meet and greet put us in the same room as heavy players like Gimmick, Bitfire, and even Cybo. Yes, the Subway Surfer Cybo. We thought, we're just here to meet some people, and what happened? 6 out of 8 students ended applying for us. One of them told us, and I quote, "I know a bigger company would be a better line on my CV, but Heli.os is the only project today that made me feel something in my chest."
I mean, come on, how could I not tear up a little there on the spot? Long story short, we welcomed Bowie and CJ as 3D generalists full-time. They're starting in August, and we're incredibly excited to share our desks and our weird snacks with them.
On top of that, 2 amazing artists, Sarah and Amalie, reached out after hearing about us and seeing our videos. Sarah is now working on Tinker's final concept art and will be focusing on humans and environments. Amalie is digging deep into machine design, bringing enemy concepts to life in a way that perfectly match our universe. Having someone help in such a way is a huge honor for us. And while we keep grinding on developing Heli.os, we're also applying to get more funding. If things go well, we hope to turn many of these internships into long-term collaborations.
And speaking of the machines Amalie is working on, we've made a new one. It is a quadruped, and we're still using a placeholder mesh for now, but the concept is being finalized as we speak. The final version will land on CJ and Bowie's desk soon for modeling, and we can't wait to see it in game.
This new machine already feels great to fight. It's reactive, quick, and a little terrifying when it comes to phase shield. Of course, it's still a work in progress. Attack patterns, VFX, SFX, and behavior systems will all be refined later. But so far, it feels right, and I think Giorgio's done a cracking job. Eventually, it'll even react differently, depending on whether it's cornered, low on health, or part of a pack. Now, let's talk exploration. I have among many other smaller tasks, dived deep into the procedural level generation system and made solid progress. The system has grown pretty big and complicated, and there are still many things we're looking forward to add down the line to make it even better. We'll be making a deep dive video about the system at some point, as we really believe we managed to steal some cool ideas and combine them into something that others might find useful. Early on, I thought I would be pretty simple to just put things together, but I very quickly realized that I severely underestimated the complexity of making sure that everything could connect in sensible ways.
Our level generation system that Soren has worked on is a mix of Returnal and Enter the Gungeon. We've read an amazing blog post about how it was made for Enter the Gungeon and thought it didn't seem too bad to make a simplified version of that. But when, after some tinkering on the system, we stumbled upon a GDC talk about the level generation in Returnal, it all suddenly made sense. Anyway, Soren has worked on it and made a wonderful job, so here's how it works.
So we create orphaned rooms first, by hand, combat arenas, puzzles, spaces, etc., and then group these into collections. These collections are connected in a graph that represents a single layout of a biome. When generating a layout, the algorithm then picks random rooms from each of these nodes and connect them. Simple enough on the surface. And because it's only pseudo-random, we can make sure that they have some control on the chaos. This means, for example, that a boss room won't spawn right next to the spawn room, and there won't be a dead end unless we want there to be.
Here's a nice little story. One day, Soren turns to me and goes, "Wanna play a run?" I sat down, played, and for the first time, Heli.os felt real. I was dodging attacks, assembling chains, and logging my findings in the journal. It was all happening. System we had built separately, now living together. It was kind of beautiful.
But now, the level generation almost does what it needs to. And as soon as the last kinks are ironed out, we want to begin testing a very, very early build around Copenhagen. And we expect this to happen soon. Because if we can make the game fun this early in development, then we are sure that later it'll be really fun.
Here are some more news on our journaling system. We now have the second major section fully implemented, the machines. Player, in fact, can now note down the statistics of machines, their weaknesses, where they are found, as well as see how many they have encountered and what can be salvaged from them.
Every encounter builds this log, and if you're the type who likes to document everything, like a little sci-fi biologist, you're gonna love this. Of course, players are also able to take free notes about machines and their aberrations. We'll talk more about the concept of aberrations in the future, but we can tell you they were inspired by the aberrations from Dredge.
That's it from us for now, but it won't be long until our next update. Our community is growing, and if you want to be part of it, you should join our Discord server at www.ourdiscordserver.com. Yes, we do own that domain, and it will redirect you right to our server, where we're very active.
So if you want sneak peeks, discuss Heli.os, or just games in general, then find us there. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.